There we are. Digital marketing trends for the region. As I said, for those of you that were here yesterday, I spoke a lot about why this conference is, one of the best ones around because of its localization in terms of insight and content. I did a lot of research for my digital marketing trends, and there was a huge discrepancy between sort of global trends, i.e., trends in the in the US, in Europe, and the West in general. And from what I know as someone who works in an agency as to what the trends are for here too. This is why it's going to be a really, really insightful session for us today, because I have with me Roma, who works for Crowd, as the Senior Social Media Advertising Specialist. And I also have Lama with me, who is a digital marketing consultant and trainer as well. So I've got people that work within the industry and are, really, feet on the ground, ears to the ground, that kind of thing. So they have really, really deep insight into what people are actually learning and how they're applying all of these things here today. So I'm just going to go and join these two lovely ladies. If you could please give them a warm round of applause. And if we have any issues with the mics, then please bear with us. So again, hopefully this will work. I've got a few trends that we want to cover here today, and I'm just going to have a discussion with Lama and Roma so that we can get the insights from two people who are really working on it as well. So we've spoken a lot about AI over the past day. But whilst AI really is the future, we have seen how important it is. The Middle East region is not quite there. In actual fact, the Middle East is about 8 to 10 years behind the West in terms of digital marketing strategies, tools, methodologies, and techniques. So I just want to gauge an insight from Lama and Roma about chatbots and private messaging. So when we talk about private messaging, we talk about stuff like WhatsApp groups, WhatsApp messaging, WhatsApp for Business, messaging on Facebook Messenger, and how all of these sorts of things are using. So I'll start with Roma because this is probably a subject quite close to Roma's heart in terms of the social media side of things. How is it that you're using chatbots and private messaging?
Hi guys, I'm Rova. So Aaron has briefly introduced me, and I work in digital marketing at Crowd. So basically, in terms of chatbots, of course, it's a topic very close to my heart. So the way that I see it is that we're all very concerned about the kind of conversions we get. But before we get a conversion, the most important part is conversation. So conversation before conversion. And we also found out that about 56% of the users say that they're likely to buy from a business, again, if they recommend products to them. So the thing about chatbots is a lot of us get nervous about them, and we're like, oh, but it's too advanced for us. Maybe our business is not there yet. But the way that we implement it is quite simple. So just start with little steps. Maybe start with a chatbot on Messenger. Maybe just implement one on your landing page and see what your customers are after. So that's how we're doing it at the moment.
Okay, fantastic. And what's your experience been?
I'd say the same thing as that Roma has just said. I think the easiest way and the simplest way to start is with implementing a chatbot on your Facebook Business Messenger. And again, when, like you said, people think they hear AI and think it's complicated and it's very difficult, but there's actually a lot of tools that can help you build a chatbot. And even though it's artificial intelligence, there's a lot of human intelligence that goes behind it, because you need to design a workflow for that chatbot. A simple way that we've worked with it was we've done it for a restaurant, for reservations, one of the restaurants that we were working on. And basically what you do is that during Ramadan, it's very simple. You have a buffet of 2 meals only, and you want to book a buffet, for example, for it or reserve it. So you design a workflow, and you make it easy for people to choose the time that they want to book it for the location, the day. And they see also what kind of menu options, and they can make the reservations there. It's easily integrated within your Facebook Business Manager. You can actually promote it as an ad so that you can get more click-throughs and more reservations. People like it because they don't have, there isn't a lot of human interactions. It's very easy. And you can also include a phone number or email address if someone wants to inquire more. So something as simple as that, it saves a lot of time, a lot of money, specifically, and a lot of human power, specifically in Ramadan where you have shorter working hours. And all of this information is then, you can easily export it into an Excel sheet, have it, the restaurant have it handy so that they know who's coming in and what time. So this is one simple way of basically using chatbots and artificial intelligence.
Okay, so I mean, it sounds like that the way that it's being implemented here for clients that you work with is less AI, more sort of logic, as it were, and in terms of logic, there's a big difference between getting the algorithm to do things and you telling the system what to use. In terms of, and again, I don't know, I mean, you'll have to tell me this about your own experiences. In terms of conversion rates from using chatbots, and private messaging, have you seen an increase? What sort of performance do you feel like that has?
We've definitely seen an increase across all our clients. And this is largely because of the fact that think about yourself as a consumer first. When you go to a business's website and you're interested in a product or a service, do you want to send them an email or pick up your phone to contact them? Nobody does that anymore. People want fast answers. People don't have time. So just because your chatbot is there ready to answer any questions, and if your chatbot's not able to answer that question, it can always divert the people to a person. So because of that, we've seen a high amount of increase in our conversions.
Okay, fantastic. So I'm going to move on to our next topic here. And we did have a very informative masterclass yesterday about video marketing, and how to, or video in itself and how to use it and things like that. But I want to, ask some questions in terms of how the region is using it, how your clients are using it. From, an agency perspective here, from where I work at INCYCLE, we get a lot of requests for, video content, but that is a little bit different from video marketing. Just creating a piece of video doesn't necessarily equate to marketing. So what we often have to spend a lot of time doing is working with clients to create stories through the videos that we're creating, and not just in single videos. If we're looking at video advertising campaigns, if someone sees one video, quite often they're not ready to purchase or become a lead. They might need to see more information. So what we often try to do is develop a series of stories that tell a story through that video marketing. Now, I also think that the big challenge is that people seem to think that creating videos and video content and video marketing is expensive, but actually it doesn't need to be. So I'd like to ask Roma again, what sort of attitude do you find your clients have towards video marketing? Is it something that they really want to develop and they're a little bit afraid to look at? I mean, how are you finding it?
This is a point where I could go on for hours and hours, and we'd probably not have enough time because this is something I have very strong feelings about. So basically, what is a pet peeve of mine is that people want to create video just for the sake of creating video, and that's not a solution. That's not an answer to your problems. And like Aaron said right now, a lot of people think that producing videos can be a bit expensive or complicated. For us, some of our biggest clients have seen conversion rates from videos which are UGC. These are user-generated content because users are now seeking authenticity. People don't want something staged, models posing for something anymore. People want something that they can relate to, that resonates with them on a personal level. So I would say in my agency, most of our videos are UGC. Of course, we tweak them a bit. They're not perfect, so we have to edit them in-house a little bit. But then we also come to the discussion of how long should a video be? And this was something that was asked yesterday. So the answer to that is really that there is no right or wrong. So I'll give you an example of one of our clients who is a tourism board in the region. And they had an ad which was 1.5 minutes, great conversion rate. Then we had many other ads which were a bit shorter, horrible conversion rates. And at the end, we finally got it right. Do you want to guess the duration? I want people to just take a wild guess how long the duration was of this video that got the highest conversion rates. Okay, we have 10 seconds. Any others? It's okay, I'll let you know, and you'll be shocked. It was 4 seconds. It's absolutely shocking. Even we were completely surprised looking at the results, but sometimes you just have to see how does my video add value to my user's experience. So we know YouTube says that bumper adverts are the most, valuable ones. So people get the highest amount of conversion rates with bumper videos, which are 6 seconds long. And then LinkedIn says that the highest amount of conversion rates come from video, which are only 15 seconds long. But that does not mean you always have to create short videos. It really depends on your messaging. If it's an ad, I would say keep it short, simple, direct, and relatable. But if you're talking about your brand's messaging, your brand story, or how to use a product, then yes, you can make it longer.
And I think that this is, we were speaking about this the other day. In terms of, the length of video, it's all about the quality of the content as well, right?
Yeah.
Like, you don't really realize it. We all sit there and we watch videos on our phones all day long, and the average that you'll find on on Facebook or Instagram is between 30 seconds to 3 minutes. Like, I won't sit there and watch a 3-minute video unless it's really, really valuable to me.
Absolutely.
But I will sit there and I watch a 30-second video,
Yeah.
even if it's rubbish, purely because it's only 30 seconds.
it's
But
a low
for me,
investment, yeah.
like 3 minutes is like ultra valuable time. I mean, despite the fact that I'm clearly procrastinating by watching a 3-minute video, it means that I've now got to find another 23 minutes to refocus on what it is I'm doing. But the quality of the content, I think, is really important as well. Now, how does that apply to you in terms of how you teach?
So there's this thing that I always say in class. I mean, I completely agree with you when it comes to quality, but quality could be the quality of the content, but not necessarily the production. I have a cousin who's 12 years old. Within 2 years, she managed to build a presence of 500,000 YouTube subscribers.
Oh my God.
The only thing she uses is her phone
Yeah.
and a tripod. And she started when she was 10. She produces all of the content, she edits it, and it's very simple, but she's reached a level where actually other teenage girls stop her at malls. So she's creating content that's going through, that's very effective. She has, I think, around 3 million views in total on her YouTube channel, and everything she uses is her mobile. I completely understand the branding aspect of it, but just like Roma said, don't produce content for the sake of producing content, and don't think that you need to spend 100. I've worked on a video content that literally has cost us 120,000 dirham just to produce here locally, and it did not do well compared to other videos that it could be a GIF or an animated image that you've used.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to focus on is that I always think about is the objective. If you're producing a video for brand awareness, you should not use the same approach as if you're producing it for consideration or conversion. So again, think of the funnel. Where are your customers? Why are you producing this video? Do you want to inform them about the product? Is there a specific call to action? And again, think of a strategy. What you said is important about producing content for the sake of it. There is the hero or the hub hygiene help kind of strategy of videos that has to be continuous. Specifically, if you're on YouTube, you cannot do a one-off campaign and expect to see results. It had to be a consistent stream of content that's coming in, that's relevant. And we always think about, specifically on YouTube, and now even on Instagram or on IGTV, you have the ability to create 1-hour videos. But like you said about the 30 seconds and the 3 minutes video, if I'm on YouTube, I'm willing to watch a 12 minutes video because I'm in that mindset. If I'm on Instagram, I'm just scrolling up, so I just want a quick 15 seconds, 30 seconds video. Facebook is now moving into Facebook Watch and actually an entire series that are being produced on Facebook. So think about, when you're also producing content, think about your objective and also think about the channel and the mindset of your consumer, because a YouTube video should not be the same as an IGTV.
Yeah.
think something as simple as the orientation of your video. I've read a study the other day that says 53% of people don't actually want to turn their phones when they're watching Instagram stories. So the idea of asking them to flip it into a horizontal, no, they want to watch it vertical. On YouTube, it's different. So even YouTube is switching to vertical videos as well. So all of these little things actually make a big difference when it comes to performance and how does your video perform.
And there's a great opportunity in it as well for businesses, because I was reading up some stats, and about 1/3 of the stories watched on Instagram are from businesses. So think about how we can leverage them as marketers.
Yeah, and the quality of content, again, and I told you this story yesterday. I can't remember what I was doing, but I was looking, just watching videos on YouTube on a Friday afternoon. And I saw this one advert, or not advert, but video about a guy who was transferring his ant colony from one box to the other, and I saw it, and it was fire ants. Now I know that a colony of fire ants are very, very dangerous, right? I mean, they can hospitalize people. Individually on their own, then they're not so bad, right? And I watched this bit because I was like, why has this guy got a colony of fire ants in his house, right? That's incredibly stupid. It turns out this guy has, 5 or 6 different colonies of ants that he looks after, and he's got, a shop that sells ant keeping equipment and stuff like that. And I was like, there's no way I'm watching this half-an-hour video of that. But lo and behold, I sat there and I watched a half-an-hour video because it was like super interesting. But it also tells you that, you need to niche down into the type of content. This guy had 2 million followers on his YouTube channel. Hundreds of thousands of views on his videos, and people commenting, wow, that's amazing, like, where can I buy your stuff, great, thanks for the tips and stuff like that. Who knew there were 2 million people in the world who want to keep ants, and more so subscribe to a channel about a guy who's moving them from one place to another? So it really does show the power of it, how consumable it is, how easy it is to get lost into, watching all of these different types of video. But at the end of the day, it must have value, I believe, and again, like, it's Vine. Do you remember the platform Vine?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and like, I can't remember what happened. They got shut down. Did they get bought out or something? I can't remember off the top of my head.
I'm not quite sure, but now...
but it was like six seconds, right?
Yeah.
And it was massive.
And now TikTok is taking
TikTok.
over.
Yeah, and TikTok.
there you go.
It's another one.
It's growing at a tremendous amount. They're hiring, they're expanding. They started in China, but then they saw an opportunity, and everyone is on TikTok.
Absolutely.
And it is the next big thing, basically. It's where everyone is saying that you should be focusing your efforts, and you should be exploring TikTok as well.
Yeah.
So, and it's entirely video content.
Exactly. For marketers here in this region, and I feel like what happens is that marketers sort of jump on an idea, but it's not really fully developed. And so it's, mangled and mutated a little bit for, purpose in this region. I mean, and I suppose that's what's unique about the Middle East, is that it takes things and it, wraps its own identity around it and doesn't necessarily do it the way that you should be doing it. But in this instance, video marketing is still very much in its infancy, and people need to sort of get their heads around why they're doing it before they actually start doing it, because otherwise it becomes clunky.
Yeah.
No one wants to watch those 12-minute videos of, hotel scapes and, things like that. So, I think that's a super important trend that actually people are getting much more on board with than they have, other trends here.
I agree, and I think people need to get out of the mentality of taking a TV ad and then placing it on YouTube and expecting it to work, because it's a completely different mindset. YouTube, you have 5 seconds to sell your product. Your product and your brand should be there in the first 5 seconds. You can't expect a TVC of a perfume where your brand only shows up at the last 3 seconds to work. People are going to skip your ads. So this is something else that also it's the education piece that we keep talking about, that people need to come out of the mentality of producing TV content for online. It's a different story.
Yeah, excellent point. So I want to talk a little bit about mobile OS optimization, so mobile operating system optimization. I don't mean mobile marketing. Mobile marketing is very different. I mean optimizing for mobile platforms, and that could be your iPhone, your Android device, a tablet, well, not necessarily laptop, but to some degree, laptops, optimizing for OS platforms, well, mobile OS rather. Sorry, I'm getting confused with iOS and what have you. There's been loads of talk about, and Google has actively said, look, we index websites on OS first, or mobile OS first. We give you penalties if your website isn't mobile friendly. There is a trend of businesses here producing only apps, producing only mobile content. Whilst the late adopters are sort of going, hey, we need a brand new website, those at the other end are saying websites are dead. We don't need those. Which makes a very interesting, ideology in terms of, where they want to go. What impact does that have? So, from an agency perspective, right, we get both ends of the conversation. Yeah. We need to have a brand new website. It needs to be mobile friendly. And it makes me laugh a little bit when, you have these, large companies coming up to you saying, we need to have a brand new website. It needs to be SEO optimized from the get-go. It needs to be mobile friendly. It needs to be responsive. And you just think, wow, guys, like how far behind are you? Like, you don't build websites that aren't mobile friendly as standard. It's an easy selling point for us, right? Because we simply go, yeah, sure, no problem. It'll be, mobile optimized is not a problem. But in terms of what you get, what sort of importance do you feel your clients are putting onto focusing solely on consumers on their mobile devices?
Well, luckily enough, a lot of clients are well aware of the fact that how important mobile optimization is for their websites or just for their content in general. But one of the things we do get a lot is a lot of businesses come up to us and say, well, we don't have an app yet, so we don't really need to do any mobile optimization. That's not true. If you don't have an app, that means your website needs to work harder. It needs to be more optimized. Because if you really think about it, think of all the electronic devices you use. Where is the majority of the time you spend during the day? Because our mobile phones are essentially an extension of ourselves. They have our thumbprints on them. And if you think about it, then we have our emails, our friends and our photos of our friends and families in there. So because our mobile phones become an extension of ourselves, is why users have such high expectations of the kind of experience they expect from brands, which is why it's really essential to have optimization on your mobile. At the same time, we need to realize that, yes, optimization is important, but don't complicate things. You have to have CTAs all across. So if you have a mobile app, don't lose your customer within it. Make sure that you have CTAs across, so in the beginning, at the end, and perhaps in the middle as well. Otherwise, your messaging is lost, and you've lost a conversion.
So one of the things that I've come across is that a lot of clients are actually asking for a separate mobile experience. And now we're sort of moving into contextual marketing, which, the UAE just doesn't even know what that is, right? And for those that don't know what contextual marketing is, that's where a user will experience the site differently based upon the last interaction that they had, whether it's their first interaction, anything like that. So optimizing for a mobile experience, I'm speaking to more and more people who don't even own laptops anymore. The biggest device that they will have is a tablet. It'll be a fairly big tablet, but that means that the experience is different. I don't know if you've ever tried to use like Google Docs on a tablet or on your phone, right? The user experience that you get on the phone is incredibly different, right? It's just different, right?
Yeah.
So making it easy to use spreadsheets and documents and things like that on that device makes everyone's lives a lot easier. People want to be more agile. They want to be, able to work away from an office. They don't necessarily want to have to be, sat down charging or plugged in or things like that all the time. So what would you, Lama, say to people who are trying to get a better mobile experience. I mean, what would your ideas for them be in terms of, creating a mobile optimized experience?
The first thing I want to say is that it's no longer an option. If you're in the UAE has the highest mobile smartphone penetration in the whole world. I don't think there is any country that has a higher than 80%, it's more than 80% smartphone penetration. It's an amazing opportunity to reach out to consumer segments that we never thought that we can actually reach out to. Even people who are set within, let's say, the lower income sphere of the economy now have access to smartphones. So there's a huge opportunity with smartphones in general. What I would say is that when we're talking about apps and mobile optimized, and the only thing I would always say, don't have an app for the sake of having an app. The thing about applications that are more than 80% of applications are only opened once after they're installed. So before you create an application for your business, think about the durability of it and how, do you really need an app or not? If you have having a website that's mobile friendly is a definite yes, it's a default. More than, if you look at the e-commerce brands now, more than 60% or 70% of sales happen through smartphones. Like you said, Aaron, a lot of people don't own mobile laptops now. They depend completely on phones. So it is essential. Again, when I talk about apps, think about whether it makes sense for you to create an app for your business or not. Is it worth the investment? Will people actually use it? Will they open it after they've installed it, or they just simply uninstall it? Even if you're an e-commerce business, and applications actually give you amazing options like push notifications, customization. Like you said, you can really customize the journey and the experience of your customer. Because if you have someone who's logged in onto your app, you know what was their last interaction, the brands that they're interested in, you're sending them push notifications of the latest collections that are launching or the latest brands and categories. But if you are a brand that people on average shop with you once a month or once every 2 months, because regardless of what kind of business you do, does it really make sense to invest hugely in an app? Again, think about their native apps and their hybrid apps. What kind of apps do you need? Do you need an app that is a complete standalone app that's separate? If you talk about user experience, some brands like, let's say, Namshi, their app is different than their mobile version. Yeah. The mobile version is very close to the website, but it's mobile friendly and mobile optimized. Like you said about CTAs and also content, think about what we call above the fold and below the fold. When you're designing content for your mobile, think about what goes, how often, how much time do people actually spend on it, and how much are they willing to scroll up? What content is the most key content that you need to have it when they first open because the screen is different than a vertical laptop screen. So make sure that the main messages and the key messages are above the fold, that people are not scrolling enough. Things that simple like a hamburger menu, or making sure that the most important categories are up there, that it's very easy and it's accessible. People on mobile, things like, think about it, if people are on their mobiles, there's a big chance that they're using their data, their 4G data packages. People can be very cautious about how do you want to consume it. So maybe less heavy content. You don't need a 4K, high in-depth images for your mobile. So think about how do you optimize the images that you upload so that when they're on their mobile, they're not taking a lot of time to load, they're not using up a lot of their data packages as well. Because simply people will stop visiting your mobile phone if they feel that it's consuming a lot of data and a lot of time too. So all of these things, and think about the mindset of the consumer who's they're using their phone, how to integrate it with other social media. You have something as simple as if you're using an app and you're linking it to a social media page, make sure you're linking it to and then you're on your mobile, make sure you're linking it to their social media apps and not the website version of it. Because again, Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn have a separate version for their mobiles than their applications version. And if you're logged in on your app, you're not necessarily logged in on the browser. So think of the experience that you want to give to consumers. So things like deep linking to applications really help improve the experience that your customers are having.
Yeah, and I think it's, I said at the start of this, we're talking about local trends and things like that. This, for the West, is basic stuff. It's bread and butter, as it were. But this region really isn't at that level yet where it's thinking about all of those things. I mean, there's a lot of really technical stuff that you just reeled off like that, okay? Because it's the stuff that we as marketers know. But we also have to remember that not everybody is our peer in this section. Most people here have, laptops and things like that. But, I can see people are, they're still doing the majority of the work on their phones. They're answering emails, they're sending messages, they're, viewing sites and things like that. And so in order for them to do things quickly, in order for them to be productive and get stuff done, they need to have, really good mobile optimization. And again, because we work behind desks and we have laptops and big computer screens and things like that, we often don't think about the people, day-to-day people that don't have, laptops, that don't have the luxury of being able to see everything on a big screen, and all they have is that mobile experience. And so optimizing it for them is really, really important. So that was a really great section on mobile optimization. The next section that I want to talk about is social commerce. Now, for those of you that were here last year when I did this panel, I spoke about e-commerce. E-commerce has somewhat taken off in the region. People are starting to realize now that e-commerce is most definitely the way forwards. I even said with the advent of Amazon coming into the country that e-commerce would change the way that things are happening. And it's doing that. It's a little bit slower progress than I thought it would, but it's now becoming part and parcel of our daily lives. People are now trusting online payment gateways. People are now more happy to spend money on their credit cards or debit cards. Coming from the UK, we had e-commerce and really good e-commerce for many, many years before the Middle East. And so for me, spending money on my card was whatever. I just assumed that the gateways would work. I later found out that that's not always the way.
60% of in Saudi of the transaction, the people prefer cash on delivery, for example. Yeah. So.
And cash on delivery here is still a really huge thing. And conversely, in the UK, you'd never do anything cash on delivery. Oh my God, you'd be so worried that the person, you just never see the money. It's just, you wouldn't imagine handing cash over to someone at the door for a product that you've bought online. It just wouldn't happen. So, like I say, the learning curve for everyone here is a bit steeper. But social commerce is now making waves here. Instagram has recently opened out its its e-commerce platform. You've been able to buy stuff on Facebook for quite a while. Now, again, this is a highly localized side of things, and as soon as at least the Instagram function is opened out, there will be an explosion of users, businesses developing, purely e-commerce focused stores. We're starting to see a lot more marketplaces opening up, Facebook Marketplace across social media channels and things like that. As our social media advertising expert in chief, what experience have you got with social media and e-commerce? How are those two being linked? How do you use that? What are your client expectations, and how are you shaping those for them?
Well, the biggest example is, think about your e-commerce platforms, think about your website. Normally, when you're advertising something, and I'm on my Facebook app, I see your ad, okay, that's a nice dress. I click on the ad, then I go to your browser, then from there I go to your mobile version, and then I look at the features of the ad and of the dress, and I'm like, do I want this dress? Maybe I'll buy it, maybe I won't. So the whole point is that there are too many redirects happening in the marketing funnel until the point that I reach the conversion stage. So the most important factor is that on social media, just at a few clicks, you can simply purchase something. For example, 60% of Instagram users say when they purchase a new product, they find out about it on Instagram. So that just goes to show the power of social e-commerce. And it's coming to the region now. It's a slow rollout, but surely soon we'll all be able to make use of it.
Excellent. And, how are you finding it?
I'd say, what I think someone was talking about low effort, high value kind of steps. And there's a step that I've done and I've seen tremendous amount. Something as simple as adding a shop now button on your Facebook page. I've actually seen one of the brands I work with, we've had sales worth 100,000 dirham in a week coming slowly from that button. This is organic, and this is free, and this is your Facebook page. Something as simple as making use of all of the different features that are available on your page. Again, as you said, some of the brands now have the feature where you can click on a product, so you can tag your Instagram posts with your product feeds organically, and people can, and that links directly to your website. And think about how many times you've been scrolling through your Instagram and you see an image of a bag, and it's like, oh, I want this specific bag. So the fact that you can link it directly to your website is, again, like you said, it's extremely important to shorten the journey, because the longer it is, the higher there's a chance of drop-offs. It doesn't roll on time. It doesn't load on time. People get busy with other things. People don't want to leave the platform. That's the best thing about having it on the social platforms. People don't want to leave to another window. So the easier that you make it for you, for your customers, the better. The other thing is like how we were also talking about. Even though I work with big brands like Victoria's Secret, for example, we still have people who send us direct messages, and they want to buy on Instagram directly. They don't understand the concept of going to a website and ordering, because there are a lot of small businesses that they do that. You can order through direct messages or through WhatsApp. And so people do still have this mentality that I want to buy directly. I don't want to go through the process of creating an account, adding to cart. How can I make it easier and quicker? So there is a huge potential and opportunity as well for that in the region. And it's small brands are doing it. They're doing it in a very preemptive way, but they're doing it, and it's working for them. So there's a huge potential for that, definitely.
And the whole process has become so fast as well. For example, say you're making use of Instagram shoppable ads. You just click over there, and then you have Apple Pay. You can just use your fingerprint, and the product is yours.
Yeah.
I'll give you another example. So last week, I actually lost my wallet. And I was pretty sure it wasn't stolen, because it's Dubai and nothing really gets stolen here. So for 3 days, I couldn't find it. And every day, my husband was asking me, have you canceled your debit card? How are you going to live? Do you want some cash? And I just told him, no, I have my mobile with me, Apple Pay. So I was just using Apple Pay along the way, everywhere I went. And I did find my wallet, and it turns out I didn't have to cancel my card after all.
Yeah, and like I say, I mean, it's opening that out, the ease of access. Really has a big impact for the way that businesses are doing business here. So that is a particularly exciting one. We're running a little bit out of time now, so I just want to talk, again, about something that we might seem as sort of basic stuff, but again, a lot of businesses here don't get it. They'll come to you and they'll say, I need social media. I need, in itself is a non-entity. What do you mean you need social media? We need PPC, we need SEO, we need brand awareness. And brand awareness, Roma will tell you, really winds me up, because it's a completely intangible thing to be able to measure. How do you measure how brand aware somebody is? The brand Nike. Of course you do. Everybody does. Nike doesn't know that. How are they supposed to tell that you went out and bought something because you're aware of their brand? So creating marketing funnels, whilst everyone else has been doing this for years and years and years, it's a very new concept to people here. And we're starting to see more and more of it. Business is starting to see, hey, actually, if I'm spending money here, then whatever happens in the middle, I need to be making profit of some sort at this end. And so marketing funnels are, starting to be developed, and businesses are really starting to get their heads around it. So in terms of, your clients, how are they being introduced to, what are their demands of a marketing funnel?
Well, it can be a bit of a hit and miss sometimes. So a lot of times we'll have clients that come up to us, and they don't understand how a marketing funnel works. So they want to have the same messaging for all purchase journeys. So awareness stage, consideration, familiarity, conversion. They want to have the exact same messaging for all these consumers, which is a problem, because you have to nurture your audiences differently. What you'll say to a person who's just found out about your brand will not be the same as a person who's already purchased a product from you. I know we're running out of time, so I'll keep it short and simple. But for me, the most important aspect of funnel marketing is nurturing your leads, of course, which it should be to anyone. But the most important stage, which I believe is the most important one, is nurturing your leads after they've made the purchase. This is because Your best customer is your repeat customer. So how else can you bring value to your business? So make sure you actually nurture your leads after they've purchased. And you'd have two kind of loyal customers, one who believe in your brand and will always buy it. They're the advocates of it. And the other ones who are just buying your product out of sheer laziness. They're the vulnerable ones. Don't let the competitors get them. So make sure you nurture your leads after the purchase process.
And Lama, how are you finding it?
I'll just say something. I feel strong. I feel strongly about the funnel, and I always say in any of the classes I teach, if you leave with one thing, leave with understanding the funnel. It is the most crucial part of your business, of your digital marketing strategy. It really has to do with your content creation, with your advertising strategy, with how you split your budget, with how you talk to your customers. You have to have it in mind throughout. The other thing is just that I always get the question is like, how long does it take me to take someone from awareness to conversion? And the answer is, there is no one answer. If you think about it, this has to do with the decision-making process. If you're selling a pen, you can essentially take someone from being aware to it to buying it within 2 minutes in a bookstore. But if you're selling a car, it could definitely take years. Think about the time when you became aware of a brand like BMW, you probably were 13. And then you started considering buying it by the time you were 30, but you only converted when you're 35. So it could take 20 years to take someone throughout a funnel, and it could take 30 seconds to take someone throughout a funnel. This helps you identifying the ROI of how much money I'm spending, and also helps you to identify how much should I be willing to invest to convert someone and to push them through the funnel from being aware in the brand to converting out of it.
Yeah, and I completely agree with that. And this is something that businesses here are starting to finally realize, that digital marketing is not something that you do because everyone else is doing it. Like, it really does have, if done properly, a positive business ROI. And it takes time, it takes investment. It's not, we'll try this for 3 months. No, in 3 months, you'll start to see the beginnings of your digital marketing campaigns taking off. So I think that is the end of everything we've got there, and we've run out of time here now. So I'd like you all to please give a big round of applause to Roma and Lama. It's great insights.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Absolutely fantastic conversation today. And if you have any other questions, because I know that we need to roll into the next one, both ladies will be sat on that table over there, more than happy to answer any questions that you have. So please, once again, Lama and Roma.
Thank you.
Thank you.